Veena, your storyteller, with a very interesting story. As you can see, the cover of the book, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This was supposed to be one of my favorite stories during my childhood. So here goes. Relax and let's enjoy the story. Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled among tall mountains, there lived a young girl named Snow White. Her gentle nature and kindness were as radiant as the sun, and her dark hair flowed like a river. Snow White lived in a grand castle with her father, the king, who cherished her dearly. However, her stepmother, the queen, was a mean woman. Each day, she would stand before her magic mirror and ask, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And each time, the mirror said, "Why, Snow White, of course." The queen, hoping to hear her own name, instead hated Snow White for this. One day, the queen thought up an evil plan. She sent Snow White away, deep into the heart of the forest, in hope that she would lose her way and will never be seen again. Was Snow White safe? What will happen to her? I wonder too. Lost and frightened, Snow White stumbled upon a tiny cottage. She knocked on the wooden door shyly. Suddenly, the door slowly creaked open. But Snow White saw nobody before her. "Hello, we are down here," said an odd voice. Snow White looked down and saw 7 funny-looking dwarves standing in the doorway. She told them what had happened to her, and they welcomed her with open arms, offering her a place to stay. Wasn't that wonderful? Snow White soon became a part of the family, bringing joy and laughter to the humble home. She cooked delicious meals, yummy, sang songs that echoed through the woods, and tended to the home with care. The dwarfs, each with their unique quirks, cherished her company. Back in the kingdom, the queen once again asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror, on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And to her surprise, the mirror once again proclaimed, "Snow White indeed." Filled with rage, the queen rushed into the woods, and with an even more sinister plan for Snow White. Now, what will the queen do? Was Snow White safe with her new dwarf family? Let's find out. The queen found the small cottage in the woods. She knocked on the door and was greeted by Snow White's beautiful red lips and fair skin. Disguised as a farmer, she offered Snow White a glimmering apple. Snow White graciously took a bite, but the queen had poisoned the apple, and so Snow White fell into a deep sleep. Oh my God, what will happen now? A sleep that could only be broken by true love's kiss. The dwarfs, heartbroken by Snow White's slumber, stayed by her side always, until one day a handsome prince riding through the forest came upon the cottage. He met the 7 dwarfs, who told him of Snow White's fate. As the prince gazed at Snow White's peaceful face, he felt the warmth unlike any other. His heart swelled with affection as he leaned down to kiss her gently. And guess what? Snow White miraculously awoke. Her eyes slowly fluttered open, meeting the prince's gaze. Touched by his caring eyes and genuine affection, Snow White fell in love with him too. As days turned into weeks and then months, the prince and Snow White nurtured their relationship. They spent the days strolling through the woods, hand in hand, and enjoying time with the dwarfs. They became a true family. Instead of returning to the kingdom as a princess, Snow White chose to stay with her 7 dear friends. And the prince, of course, living a life filled with love and joy. The cottage echoed with laughter, where kindness and friendship thrived. And they all lived happily ever after. So that was a beautiful ending, isn't it? So they lived happily ever after. And I hope you enjoyed the story of Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. Keep watching Storytelling with Veena for more interesting stories. Bye, till we meet again.